You keep wondering why your life never changes, why every time you start something, a business, a new habit, a goal, it falls apart halfway through. You blame bad luck, timing, or maybe the people around you. But the truth is simple and brutal. You give up too easily. You're not cursed, you're not unlucky, you're just soft. You start strong, full of motivation and big words, but the moment things get uncomfortable, you retreat. You start negotiating with your excuses, telling yourself, maybe it's not the right time, or maybe this just isn't for me. That's the story you tell yourself to make quitting feel acceptable. But deep down, you know that's not true. The reason you're not where you want to be isn't because you failed. It's because you quit the moment failure knocked on your door. Every single person who's ever achieved anything great went through moments that would have broken the average man. The difference between them and you, they stayed in the fight. They didn't leave when it got hard. They didn't care about how tired they were or how unfair life seemed. They understood something you still don't, that greatness is born out of pressure, not comfort. You want to grow, but you don't want to feel pain. You want success, but you're not willing to suffer for it. And that's why you keep losing, because you've trained yourself to run from anything that hurts. But pain isn't punishment, it's progress trying to introduce itself. The world you live in has lied to you. It's told you that if something is difficult, it's not meant for you. That if you feel resistance, you should take a break. That life should be balanced, comfortable, and fair. That's not reality, that's weakness disguised as wisdom. Life isn't fair. It's a test. It's built to see who has the strength to endure, who has the patience to persist, who can get hit and still keep moving forward. Every time you give up, you fail that test. You tell the universe you're not serious, that you don't deserve what you say you want, and life listens. It gives you nothing because you've earned nothing. You think the problem is external: lack of money, lack of time, lack of opportunity. But the real problem is internal lack of grit. You've been conditioned to believe that your emotions matter more than your results. That if you're tired, you should rest. If you're frustrated, you should stop. If you're not inspired, you should wait until you are. That mindset is poison. The people who win in life don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like it. They push when it's boring, when it's painful, when nobody's watching. Because that's what separates the weak from the strong: consistency in the absence of comfort. You can't keep quitting every time you feel pressure and expect life to reward you. That's not how it works. Life rewards the person who refuses to surrender. The one who keeps swinging even when his hands are bleeding. The one who gets knocked down 7 times and stands up 8. That's the law of persistence. It doesn't favor the smartest or the most talented. It favors the most relentless, the one who doesn't stop. Because eventually, everyone else does. You've been playing the short game, chasing easy wins, fast success, instant results. But nothing real happens overnight. The reason you quit is because your expectations are wrong. You think you should see results after a week, after a month, after a small taste of effort. But life doesn't pay out that easily. It's testing your patience, your resolve, your hunger. Every delay is a question: how bad do you really want it? Every challenge asks, will you stay when it's painful? Every failure whispers, will you start again? Most people fail not because they lack skill, but because they answer those questions the wrong way. They say, no, I'm done. And then they call it fate. You've got to stop acting like quitting is an option. It's not. Every time you give up, you weaken your identity. You tell yourself you can't trust your own word. You train your mind to associate pain with defeat instead of growth. You're not just quitting on a task, you're quitting on the person you could have become. And that's far worse than losing. Losing still teaches you something. Quitting teaches you nothing. Quitting makes you fragile. It makes your comfort zone a prison you keep decorating, pretending it's freedom. But you're not free, you're trapped by your own fear of struggle. The truth about why you keep giving up isn't complicated. It's because you've chosen the illusion of safety over the reality of growth. You've chosen the easy path because it demands less, but it also gives less. You've chosen comfort because you're afraid of what's required to earn greatness. And until you confront that truth, until you decide that quitting is no longer acceptable. You'll keep living the same loop, motivated one day, defeated the next, stuck forever in the middle. You've been running from pain your entire life, thinking comfort is the key to happiness. But that's a lie. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition, the invisible hand keeping you small, weak, and mediocre. Every time you take the easy route, every time you avoid struggle, you're signing a contract to live average. Pain is not the enemy, it's the doorway. Every great person you admire, every story of victory and dominance started by walking through pain. Pain is the entrance fee. The world doesn't hand out greatness for free, and it certainly doesn't reward those who quit when it gets hard. Most people think success is about talent, luck, or timing. They're wrong. Talent doesn't matter if you fold under pressure. Luck is irrelevant if you can't endure struggle. Timing will never favor the weak who give up at the first sign of resistance. What matters is resilience, persistence, and the ability to stay in the fight long after everyone else has left. Pain is the test, it's the moment that separates those who will become great from those who will remain average. And yet, most people run from it. They avoid discomfort, avoiding anything that challenges their comfort zone, and then they complain about their lack of results. Pain is uncomfortable, yes. It's messy. It's exhausting. It makes you question yourself. It exposes your weaknesses. But that's exactly why it's necessary. Every time you face it and keep moving, you grow stronger. Every time you endure when others quit, you rise above them. Pain is the world's way of filtering out the weak. It's the pressure that forges diamonds. And if you're unwilling to feel it, you'll never become one. You can't skip the suffering and still expect to shine. You have to embrace it. You have to welcome it as your teacher. Look at any winner, a champion, a billionaire, a titan in their field, and you'll see one pattern. They faced more pain than the rest of us can even imagine, and they didn't quit. They failed repeatedly, got knocked down, got humiliated, lost money, lost time, lost energy, and still they persisted. That's the power of leaning into pain. Every hit you take, every setback, every moment of suffering is currency. If you endure, you're getting richer in strength, resilience, and experience. Pain is a deposit into your future greatness, and quitting is a withdrawal that bankrupts your potential. Most people try to avoid discomfort because they've been taught that life should be easy, fair, and painless. They think happiness means smooth roads and zero resistance. But the truth is, pain is inevitable. Struggle is unavoidable. And the sooner you accept that life is a series of challenges designed to make you stronger, the sooner you stop being weak. You don't get to choose the challenges, they come regardless. But you do get to choose how you respond. You can shrink, run, and complain, or you can fight, endure, and grow. Pain builds character. It builds discipline. It builds toughness. It teaches lessons that comfort never can. Comfort keeps you soft, lazy, and dependent. Pain forces you to innovate, to adapt, to push beyond your limits. It's the sharpening stone of the human spirit. Every time you resist the urge to quit, every time you push through exhaustion, doubt, or fear, you become harder to defeat. You become someone the world has to reckon with because you've built unbreakable strength from the inside out. You can't wait for a life without pain. That life doesn't exist. There's no success without struggle, no progress without resistance, no transformation without discomfort. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the tuition you pay for the results everyone else wants without earning. And every time you quit, you refuse to pay that tuition. You walk away from your future. You betray yourself. You leave your potential unclaimed, all because you wanted to feel good in the moment. So if you want to stop being average, if you want to be extraordinary, you have to change your relationship with pain. Stop running from it. Stop fearing it. Stop treating it like the enemy. Pain is the price of greatness. It's the entry ticket. And if you're not willing to pay it, then you don't get a seat at the table where legends are made. You can't get stronger without resistance. You can't rise without struggle. And you can't win without first learning how to endure what most people can't even face. Every time you think about quitting, you're making a choice to accept weakness, to settle, to let the world define your limits. And most people make that choice every single day without even realizing it. They tell themselves, I'll try again tomorrow, or maybe this isn't meant for me, or I'm too tired right now. But that mindset, that way of thinking, is exactly what keeps you from becoming unstoppable. If you want to win, if you want to dominate your life in 2026 and beyond, you need a no matter what mindset, a mentality that refuses to back down, that refuses to negotiate, that refuses to quit, no matter the pain, no matter the setbacks, no matter the obstacles. The no matter what mindset isn't born out of comfort or motivation. It's forged in struggle. It's built through repetition, through discipline, through enduring moments that feel unbearable. Motivation comes and goes, but a mindset like this doesn't rely on temporary feelings. It relies on commitment, on resolve, on an internal standard that you refuse to compromise. When life hits you with failure, rejection, or doubt, no matter what mindset keeps you moving forward. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't check if it's convenient. It simply acts. That's the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who fade into mediocrity. Most people fail because they negotiate with themselves. They make deals with their fear, their comfort, their ego. I'll rest today, but I'll get back to it tomorrow. I'm tired, so I'll wait until I feel like it. This is too hard. Maybe I'll try something easier. Every excuse is a compromise, and every compromise builds weakness. Strength is never built in comfort. Power never comes from excuses. Discipline is born from saying, I will act even when I don't want to, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. The no matter what mindset means no deals, no compromises, no excuses. You do what needs to be done because that is who you are, not because you feel like it. The key to building this mindset is repetition. You have to practice saying yes to discomfort over and over until it becomes automatic. You have to get comfortable with the things that most people avoid: long hours, difficult conversations, failure, criticism, isolation. These are the moments that define you, that separate the weak from the unstoppable. Every time you push through when quitting feels easier, you're training your brain to embrace resistance rather than run from it. You're creating an unshakable habit of persistence. A habit that can't be broken by temporary setbacks or fleeting emotions. It's also about taking full responsibility for your life. No matter what mindset cannot exist if you blame others for your circumstances. Stop looking for someone else to save you. Stop waiting for opportunity to knock. Stop believing that life owes you something. That mindset only grows when you accept that you and only you are responsible for your results. No one can do the work for you. No one can endure the struggle for you. No one can fight your battles for you. If you want success, you have to demand it from yourself. No excuses, no shortcuts, no compromises. Another critical part of this mindset is focus. You have to decide what matters and commit fully. Most people fail because they spread themselves too thin, chase too many goals at once, and quit the second they meet resistance. No matter what mentality isn't scattered, it's relentless. It locks onto a target, and no matter what happens, it never lets go. This is why champions succeed. They stay on course, ignoring distraction, ignoring discouragement, ignoring the noise. They persist when others quit. They endure when others falter. And over time, that focus compounds into unstoppable momentum. The final element is mental toughness. You have to train your mind to endure failure, criticism, and setbacks without giving in. Every time you get knocked down, you stand up. Every time someone doubts you, you keep moving. Every time you face a challenge, you embrace it. That resilience becomes your identity. You no longer think of quitting as an option because your mind has been rewired to see persistence as the only path. The no matter what mindset is not just a strategy, it's a way of living. It's the mentality of someone who refuses to settle, someone who refuses to be average, someone who refuses to let life dictate their limits. If you want 2026 to be the year you dominate, you have to internalize this mindset. You have to make persistence your habit, discipline your default, and resilience your identity. You have to act even when it hurts, even when you're scared, even when quitting feels easier. Because the person who masters this mentality doesn't just survive, they thrive. They don't just endure, they conquer. And nothing in the world can stop someone who refuses to quit. No matter what, most people fail because their minds are wired for comfort, not conquest. You've been trained from birth to avoid struggle, to seek easy paths, to expect life to be gentle. Every advertisement, every social media feed, every cultural message tells you, relax, enjoy, you deserve it. And you've bought into it. You've created neural pathways that reward laziness, that validate quitting, that treat discomfort as the enemy. That's why when life pushes back, you break. That's why every time things get hard, you look for an excuse to stop. The problem isn't your environment. The problem is your brain, and the good news is you can rewire it. You can train it to crave growth instead of comfort, to embrace struggle instead of running from it, to persist no matter the obstacle. The first step in rewiring your brain is awareness. You need to understand exactly how your mind is sabotaging you. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you're strengthening those neural pathways. Every time you quit, you're training yourself to quit faster the next time. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, or this is too hard, your brain accepts it as truth. And the more you repeat those patterns, the harder it becomes to break free. That's why the average person can't stick to habits, can't endure pressure, and can't see results. Their brain has been programmed to avoid challenge and seek reward. But awareness gives you the power to interrupt that pattern. The moment you recognize the lie your brain is feeding you, you gain the ability to refuse it. Next comes intentional action. Rewiring isn't about hoping your mindset changes, it's about doing the hard work repeatedly until it sticks. You have to push yourself into situations that feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or exhausting, and you have to keep showing up. It's in those moments of resistance that new pathways are formed. Every time you act despite fear, doubt, or fatigue, your brain creates a new neural connection that says, I am capable, I endure, I persist. It's like lifting weights for your mind. At first, it's painful, awkward, exhausting, but over time, the muscles of discipline, focus, and resilience become unshakable. Consistency is the secret weapon here. You don't rewire your brain in a single heroic effort. You rewire it through repetition. One victory over weakness doesn't make you relentless, but 10, 20, 50 victories stacked over days, weeks, months, that builds a mental fortress. The person you are today isn't the product of a single decision. It's the accumulation of thousands of small choices repeated until they become automatic. And that's the power of persistence. Every small act of courage, every moment you refuse to quit, every decision to push through resistance compounds into unstoppable momentum. You also need to train your perception of failure. Most people quit because they view failure as proof that they're incapable. But your brain can learn to see failure differently, not as defeat, but as feedback, as information, as a stepping stone. Every mistake, every setback, every rejection is an opportunity to strengthen your neural pathways, to teach your mind that struggle is temporary and growth is permanent. You reprogram your brain to see pain and failure as allies instead of threats, which makes quitting unthinkable. Visualization and mental rehearsal play a huge role in this process. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between what's imagined and what's real. When you vividly picture yourself succeeding, overcoming obstacles, and persisting no matter what, you're building the neural patterns that support those actions. Your mind begins to expect progress and endurance instead of hesitation and retreat. You start living in a reality where quitting isn't an option because your brain has been trained to see persistence as the natural path. Finally, you must eliminate distractions that reinforce weakness. Social media, instant gratification, toxic relationships, and constant entertainment keep your brain in a state of dependency on comfort. Every time you give in to those impulses, you strengthen the neural circuits of avoidance and procrastination. To rewire your brain for relentless progress, you have to remove the easy paths. Cut out the noise and force yourself to face challenges head on. Hard work becomes automatic when your environment demands it. When quitting is harder than continuing, your brain naturally adapts to the path of persistence. If you want to dominate your life in 2026 and beyond, you have to take control of your brain, the root of every habit, every decision, every success, and every failure. You can't just rely on fleeting motivation or bursts of energy. You have to systematically, deliberately, and consistently rewire your mind to crave growth. Embrace struggle and push forward no matter the circumstances. Once you do, quitting will no longer feel like an option, and progress will become relentless, unstoppable, and inevitable. Every setback you've ever experienced wasn't designed to break you. It was designed to build you. And yet, most people treat setbacks like punishments. They get angry, frustrated, or depressed. They let it define them, let it stop them, let it convince them that they're not good enough. But that's a lie. Setbacks are the raw material of strength, the testing ground where your character is forged, the moments that separate winners from quitters. If you want to dominate in 2026, you have to learn to see every failure, every rejection, every obstacle as a tool for growth, not a reason to give up. The strongest people in the world didn't avoid problems, they faced them head on. They fell, they got hurt, they lost, and they got back up. They understood that every failure carries a lesson, and the lesson is more valuable than the temporary comfort of giving up. The moment you experience a setback, you have a choice: let it destroy you or let it teach you. The people who rise above the crowd are the ones who consistently make the second choice. They absorb the pain, analyze the loss, and use it as fuel to push further than they ever have before. That's how setbacks become strength, pain, failure, and rejection are unavoidable in life, but your response is what determines your trajectory. Too many people treat life like a straight line. They expect smooth progress, constant wins, and instant gratification. When that doesn't happen, when the line curves, when obstacles appear, when the world hits back, they crumble. But growth doesn't happen on a straight line. Growth happens in the moments of resistance, in the moments when you are forced to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Setbacks are the curveballs that life throws to see if you're serious about your goals. If you can't handle them, you'll never reach your potential. Turning setbacks into strength starts with perspective. You have to shift your mindset from why me to what now. Stop seeing failure as a reflection of your worth. Stop seeing rejection as proof that you're incapable. Instead, see every problem as an opportunity to adapt, to improve, to come back stronger. The world is full of people who give up at the first sign of difficulty, but the winners are those who see the obstacles as a challenge to be conquered, not a roadblock to stop their progress. Another key factor is action. Reflection without action is useless. Every setback contains lessons, but lessons only matter if you apply them. You need to dissect what went wrong, take responsibility for your part, and implement the changes that will prevent the same failure in the future. That's how you convert experience into skill, mistakes into wisdom, and pain into power. Doing nothing or whining about the setback only reinforces weakness. Action transforms adversity into momentum. Resilience is also built by repetition. The more times you face failure and continue moving forward, the stronger you become. Every time you recover from a loss, your confidence grows. Every time you endure rejection without giving up, your courage compounds. It's not about avoiding setbacks, it's about facing them so consistently that your brain, body, and spirit learn to expect resistance and prepare for it automatically. Resilience becomes a habit, and eventually it becomes your default state. You also need to embrace discomfort as a teacher. Setbacks are rarely pleasant, but they are honest. They reveal weaknesses, expose blind spots, and challenge your assumptions. Most people avoid them because they're uncomfortable, but comfort is the enemy of progress. The strongest people see setbacks as feedback. They analyze it, they learn from it, and they implement changes immediately. That's how mistakes become stepping stones and how struggle becomes mastery. The process of turning setbacks into strength isn't quick. It's painful, it's repetitive, it's exhausting. But nothing valuable is ever easy. Every successful person has endured failure and used it to fuel their ascent. Every billionaire, every champion, every leader has experienced moments that would have crushed a weaker person, and yet they leveraged those moments to grow stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable. To truly master the art of resilience, you have to stop fearing failure. You have to stop pretending life should be easy. You have to stop avoiding the discomfort that comes with growth. Every obstacle, every rejection, every setback is a test, and the stronger you get at passing those tests, the more unstoppable you become. The person who can endure the worst and keep moving forward is the one who ultimately achieves greatness. Setbacks are not signs to stop. They are signals to rise, to adapt, and to get stronger than ever before. If you want to succeed in life, if you want to dominate 2026 and every year after, you have to become the kind of person who never breaks. Most people think success is about luck, opportunity, or talent, but it isn't. Success is about who you become under pressure, how you respond when the world hits you with everything it has, and whether you stand up every single time you're knocked down. Life isn't going to get easier. The challenges will keep coming, the obstacles will grow bigger, and the pressure will keep increasing. The only way to survive and thrive is to develop an unshakable core, an identity that refuses to crumble no matter the circumstances. Becoming unbreakable starts with your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality more than anything else. If you believe you're fragile, weak, or easily defeated, that is exactly who you will be. But if you train your mind to see every challenge as an opportunity, every obstacle as a test, and every failure as feedback, you start to become someone who cannot be shaken. Mental toughness isn't about pretending you aren't afraid or in pain. It's about acting in spite of fear and pain. It's about making the decision to persist even when quitting feels like the easier option. The unbreakable person doesn't wait for motivation. They rely on discipline. They act because it's necessary, not because they feel like it. Physical and emotional resilience are equally important. You have to condition your body to endure and your emotions to stay steady under pressure. Most people crumble not because they're incapable, but because their bodies and minds are untrained. You can't control life, but you can control how you respond to it. Physical conditioning isn't just about strength or endurance. It's about proving to yourself that you can tolerate discomfort, that you can keep going when your body tells you to quit. Emotional resilience is about managing your feelings instead of letting them manage you. You can't let anger, fear, or doubt dictate your actions. You have to feel them, acknowledge them, and then push forward anyway. That's how you become unbreakable. Consistency builds unbreakable strength. The person who never breaks is not someone who avoids struggle. It's someone who has trained themselves to face it every day in every aspect of life. They don't quit when it's inconvenient, when it's painful, or when no one is watching. They show up consistently, build habits of excellence, and prove to themselves day after day that quitting is no longer an option. Strength is cumulative. Every decision to endure, every act of discipline, every refusal to give in compounds over time until you reach a point where breaking is simply not in your nature. Purpose fuels unbreakable determination. The person who never breaks has a reason that is bigger than themselves. They have a mission, a goal, a vision that drives them beyond temporary discomfort. Without purpose, pain becomes unbearable. Without purpose, setbacks feel devastating. But with purpose, every struggle becomes meaningful, every obstacle becomes a challenge to overcome, and every failure becomes a lesson that brings you closer to the life you want. A person with purpose doesn't just endure, they thrive in the face of difficulty because every trial has a meaning. Every test has value, and every moment of struggle strengthens their resolve. The unbreakable person also knows that failure is inevitable. They don't fear it, they don't resist it, and they don't take it personally. Instead, they learn, adapt, and come back stronger. They understand that life is a series of challenges designed to filter out those who are not ready for greatness. They expect difficulty, embrace discomfort, and thrive on the lessons it teaches. The world will always test you, but if you are unbreakable, the tests only make you stronger finally. Becoming unbreakable is about identity. You have to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, someone who cannot be defeated by temporary discomfort, someone whose will is stronger than circumstance. Every choice you make reinforces that identity. Every time you act despite fear, doubt, or pain, you reinforce it. Every habit you build that requires discipline strengthens it. And over time, it becomes who you are. Being unbreakable isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about refusing to surrender, refusing to compromise, and refusing to let life dictate your limits. When you reach this level, quitting is no longer an option. Obstacles no longer intimidate you. Setbacks no longer discourage you. Pain no longer weakens you. You become a force that can't be stopped because your mind, body, and purpose are aligned. You've become the person who never breaks, the person who will endure anything, the person who will rise again and again, no matter how hard life hits you. Here's the reality. Life will never get easier just because you wish it would. Challenges, setbacks, pain, they are all guaranteed. The only thing that separates those who succeed from those who fail is how they respond. Every person who has ever achieved greatness faced moments that would have broken an average person. They were tested, pushed, and hit harder than they imagined, yet they refused to quit. And that's the lesson for you. Success isn't about avoiding struggle, it's about embracing it. enduring it and using it as fuel if you want 2026 to be your year. If you want to finally stop giving up so easily, you have to transform yourself from the inside out. You have to stop negotiating with your weaknesses, stop letting fear dictate your actions, and stop allowing comfort to be your priority. Every second you waste quitting, every moment you spend avoiding discomfort is a second lost from building the life you truly deserve. You can't wait for the perfect moment. You can't wait until you feel ready. You create readiness by taking action consistently, relentlessly, without excuses. The person who never quits, the person who thrives under pressure, the person who turns every setback into strength. That is who you must become. You have to rewire your mind for persistence, embrace pain as a teacher, and build habits that make quitting impossible. You have to cultivate mental toughness, emotional resilience, and physical discipline. You have to pursue your purpose with such intensity that every obstacle becomes a challenge to overcome rather than a reason to stop. That is the path to becoming unstoppable at the end of the day. No one else is responsible for your success. No one is going to hand it to you. Life won't wait for you to feel motivated. You have to demand it from yourself. You have to act when it's hard, push when it's painful, and rise when it seems impossible. Every moment you choose persistence over quitting, every time you endure what most people flee from, you move closer to the life you were meant to live. So stop giving up so easily. Stop letting weakness define your limits. Stop allowing fear, pain, or discomfort to control your destiny. Take responsibility, embrace struggle, and commit to becoming the person who never breaks. That is how you turn setbacks into strength, challenges into opportunities, and potential into unstoppable reality. The life you want isn't waiting, it's being built every time you refuse to quit and keep moving forward, no matter what